In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الكريم وعلى آله وأصحابه من سنة بسنة الدين أما بعد. Assalamu Alaikum wa barakatuh, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam. Welcome to another episode of the Reverse series in Why Islam. I'm your host, Imam Jawad Ahmed. Today we'll be talking about some different aspects of the prayer. As you may have watched the previous videos on prayer, we will now talk about more in detail in terms of some of the different various aspects of the prayer. What should we do when somebody is traveling? So the traveler's prayer. The person who's traveling, requirement for that is that if you are traveling at least 45 miles or more, then you can do two things. One thing that you can do is called qasr, which means shorten the prayer. And the other thing that you can do is jama, which means combining two prayers together. So qasr means shorten, which means that if you are praying 4 rak'ah for Isha, you pray 2. And if you're praying 4 rak'ah for Dhuhr or Asr, you pray 2 instead. Maghrib and Fajr remains as is same. So technically, for a traveling person, the only prayer allowed to shorten are the Dhuhr, Asr, and Isha. And the other thing is that a person can skip the Sunnah if they want to because they are traveling and they're on the road. Now, there are various opinions of scholars around there in terms of this, but for a newcomer, for a new Muslim, for a revert, it is enough to understand the basic requirements of a traveling condition. Number one, like I said earlier, the mileage, the distance that a person is traveling. Number two, the duration, which is 2 weeks or more. If somebody is traveling to some place and they're going to be living there 2 weeks or more, then they should be praying complete prayer. Only if they are traveling to another destination for less than 2 weeks, then they're allowed to be considered as the traveler or traveling prayer. So more than 2 weeks, it was just things as normal, as usual, that you would pray in your home. But if it's less than 2 weeks, and so therefore the person is allowed to shorten the prayer. And this is a kind of facility from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it easy for the person that is traveling. The other thing that they can do is what we call jama, or combination or combining prayer. What can be combined and what cannot be combined? Dhuhr and Asr can be combined together if a person is traveling and they're on the road, or even if they are arrived at their destination, but they're still considered travelers. So in that new place, new city, or new destination, they can combine Dhuhr and Asr. What does it mean to combine Dhuhr and Asr? You can do two things, one of two things. One is you can make the Asr prayer combined with Dhuhr, so you are making it earlier, or you can delay the Dhuhr prayer and combine it with Asr. Both ways are correct. It's up to the person how he would want to do it. So therefore, if the time for Dhuhr comes, you pray your Dhuhr, and then right after your fard of Dhuhr, you pray the Asr also. So you'd be praying 2 rak'ah Dhuhr, and then 2 rak'ah of Asr, and that would be the combining aspect of the prayer. Similarly, Maghrib and Isha can be combined also. And same rule applies, that either the Isha can be made earlier or the Maghrib can be delayed and combined with Isha. This combining of prayer is permissible both in physical traveling, like when you're traveling in a bus, in a train, in a car, even in an airplane. And also when you are not physically on the road in the mode of travel, but rather you have reached the other city and you are there temporarily as a traveler. So if you're praying at a hotel, in a house, somebody's house, someplace, or even in a masjid, you can combine. However, if you go to the masjid, or if you're praying in the new area, new city, if you're praying with someone who is local, then you would complete your prayer. You would not shorten it. You would not pray 2, but rather the full 4. So the person who's leading, the local person who is the imam and leading the prayer, they would continue as the regular prayer and pray the full 4 rak'at. And you as a traveler praying behind them, would I also have to pray the full four? However, let's say you're visiting your friend or relative in that new city and they're Muslim, and therefore they ask you that, hey, you lead the prayer. So if you're traveling, then you would only pray two for a 4 rak'ah prayer like Dhuhr, Asr, or Isha. If it's Maghrib or Fajr, you would pray the same and nothing changes. So therefore, for the 4 rak'ah prayer, you would pray two, and the person who's praying behind you, who is a local, they would complete their 2 rak'ah that they have to pray. So you can make salam after the 2 rak'ah, and they would get up and continue their praying. That is because you are the imam, you are leading the prayer, and you are a traveler, so you can shorten. But if you as a traveler pray behind them and they are local, then you would be completing the full 4 rak'ah prayer. You cannot shorten it. So that is one aspect of the traveler in terms of shortening and combining the prayer. And the other aspect is what we call what if a person misses the prayer and what to do. So if a person happens to miss a prayer for any variety of reasons, they should immediately make up that prayer at the next prayer. Let's say, for example, you miss your Dhuhr. So before you pray your Asr, make sure you first pray your Dhuhr, make it up for that, and then you pray Asr. Or let's say you just remembered after praying any prayer that you missed some prayer today. Let's say you remember at Maghrib time that you missed Fajr this morning and you forgot to pray. You missed it because you overslept. So you can pray Fajr at that time also, meaning whenever you remember, you make up your prayer. Making up prayer is very, very important and essential, because missing the prayer, and being casual about it and not caring about it sends a wrong signal to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It shows Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we are not serious in prayer, and prayer is the most fundamental aspect of the believer's life, and therefore a person should be serious in terms of prayer. That yes, they missed it, it's a shortcoming, it's a small mistake on the part of the believer, but Allah loves those who make it up and repent. So we can also repent to Allah and pray Salatul Tawbah for that missing prayer. The other aspect of the person in terms of traveling, which seldom gets discussed and talked about, is the issue of wudu. If you are traveling and on the road and you have made wudu before leaving the house and before putting up your socks and shoes, then you can make what we call masah, or wiping over the sock, when you are out there on the road and trying to make wudu. Meaning, if a person has made wudu and put on their socks, and then later on their wudu breaks, they don't have to wash their feet in the sink or anywhere in water, because they have already made wudu before and they put on the socks. And it is from the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ to wipe over the socks. So as a new Muslim, as a revert, it is important to understand that this can be done while a person is traveling from their home to another place, another destination, or even when they are at a place where it is very difficult and cumbersome to wash the feet. However, if a person is going into the masjid and they have the wudu area, it is recommended and better that they wash their feet and make wudu properly. But if they choose not to and do just the masah, that is also fine, as it is allowed in the religion itself. So these are some of the aspects and things about prayer and traveling and shortening and combining and missing of prayer and what to do. As a new Muslim, it is important to understand these values and these things, and we adopt to it and adapt to it, inshallah. Jazakallah khairan, and we'll be back again with another episode on another topic. Assalamu Alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.